Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order of the April 14th, 2015 Board of Selectmen's meeting at the Memorial Town Hall. Tonight, let's see, do we have any announcements?
No.
No announcements?
No.
Okay, how about public forum? Anybody here for public forums?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brent Rubach, representing the Hatfield Polish Club. We're planning a charity event for this first Saturday in May, and it's a wheelbarrow race, and it's the first time we're doing it, so it's a new process to it. What we'd like to do is just start at the old Hatfield Center Market, leave there, go down Raymond Ave, take a left onto School Street, come to the four-way, and come right back down to the market. We've already arranged to have two town police officers at the intersections, not to actually stop traffic, but just to wave people through. And there will also be a couple volunteer firefighters, EMTs from town, just in case anything happens. We've laid out our requirements, for safety reasons, and we're just approaching the Selectmen to make sure that this is something that is okay to be done, and what we would need to get as far as permits.
Okay, this is Saturday, May 2nd, 2015?
Yes.
Okay. And gentlemen, have any questions?
No.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the proposed Kentucky Derby wheelbarrow race for Saturday, May, as presented.
Motion made, is there a second?
There's a second. I
further-
did want to make a comment.
Any
though.
further discussion?
Which I don't think you mentioned, and the proceeds are to benefit the Hatfield Fire Department.
They're gonna have a first, second, third prize, small cash prize for the participants, and then whatever the remainder is, depending upon how many teams we get, is gonna go to the fire department.
Great, okay, I just think that's important.
Right now, there's maybe a dozen teams that have expressed interest, and we haven't really even started to advertise it yet.
Sure.
And if it should happen to be a success, we'd like to, make it an annual thing. And going forward, we would, maybe next year, we'd give half the proceeds to the police department or the rec department.
Yeah, sure.
Do you have the ambulance on call? Just in case?
Yeah. Well, but we'll come to that, we purposely left the route flat instead of going down any hills, so we're trying to take, the necessary precautions just to keep it safe, but fun at the same time.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thanks
Thank
a
you very
lot.
much. Good luck.
You need this?
Okay. Have the minutes of
Motion to approve Board of Selectmen minutes of 24 March 2015.
motion been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. We have two transfer of liquor licenses, hearings coming up, 5:35. Have another couple of minutes. First of all, we're going to take Rex Distributor. So if the parties involved, they come forward.
Time.
Yeah. Okay. I'd like to open the public hearing for the first liquor license transfer hearing to the Town of Hatfield Board of Selectmen, transfer of liquor license hearing. Board of Selectmen, Town of Hatfield, Mass., licensing authority under general laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Chapter 138, will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 14, 2015, at 5:35 p.m. in Meeting Room 109B of Memorial Town Hall, 59 Main Street, on the application of Rex Distributor Incorporated, DBA Hatfield Market, Mark Axler, President and Manager, holder of a license to sell all kinds of alcoholic beverages as a retail packaged goods store at 42 North Hatfield Road, who has applied for a transfer of said license to Sisters Convenience Store and Deli Corporation, DBA Sisters Convenience Store. And this is J.T. by Patel, manager, located at 22 West Street, West Hatfield, Mass. Hatfield Board of Selectmen, Edward W. Lesko Jr., Chair, Marcus Boyle, and Brian Moriarty. Published on March 27th, 2015. With that, we'll open up for comments. If you'd like to present your case.
Good evening. I'm Attorney Peter Irvine, representing Rex Distributors. Attorney Brad Schimmel is here for Sisters Convenience. This is a mutual transfer of licenses. So Rex Distributors holds an all alcohol license. They wish to transfer that to Sisters Convenience, and Sisters Convenience has a beer and wine license they want to transfer to Rex Distributors. And we're hoping to have that all happen simultaneously so everyone understands what's going on. We put in the application. Rex Distributors has had a license for many years, has had no issues with that license. Seems straightforward.
Okay. Is there any other comments from the floor? Question that I have, or we have, is going to the back taxes. I notice in consideration of $35,000 here for the license transfer. If that money is going to be paid to the Town of Hatfield for the back taxes owed on real estate taxes.
Certainly any outstanding tax bills would be paid off. We do have a certificate of good standing from the state, so all state obligations have been paid.
Mm-hmm. That's on the state taxes, they've all been paid, but how about on the town taxes?
I'm not aware of what the town taxes might be.
Okay. There's approximately $16,000 outstanding to the Town of Hatfield, including, on top of that is plus interest and plus attorney's fees.
Here, let's talk to.
Okay. Now, we do know before, it's not through yet, before,
Okay, Mr. Axler tells me there's been an agreement made with the town.
what's that again?
Mr. Axler tells me there's been an agreement made with the town to provide
I
for
was
this.
just going to say that before you did that. There is an agreement with the court tax title that Mr. Axel will pay X amount of dollars per month to the town. But I don't know if tax title knows right now whether the $35,000 exists in this thing, and that would come into play where it would automatically be turned over to the town's share of money. I'm not sure how that would work. We have to get a hold of the tax title attorney and find out from him is whether he has to file anything or not in regards to this. So that's where we're at with that.
And the tax title attorney is,
I don't have, do you have his name? Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I can provide Attorney Levine with his information. I've dealt with him before, and I have his contact information.
Okay.
so what would you be looking for from us?
As far as what we would be looking for, well, upon the recommendation of the attorney, because that is a whole different department, then we'd be looking for payment of the back taxes.
Okay, so some documentation from the attorney that the attorney's satisfied with the local tax situation.
It'd be the local tax, right, what was owed in real estate past the 2-year period, which I believe is roughly $16,000, plus interest, plus the attorney's fees.
Okay, I'll get that to you.
Now, is there any other questions or
No?
any other from the floor?
I might just make a suggestion that if the board is inclined to grant the license transfer, they could certainly make it conditional upon an agreement with the town with regard to the taxes owed to the town, rather than delay a vote on the meeting today. It could be a condition of the vote that there be an acceptable agreement submitted to the
We would
town.
take that into consideration.
After we close the hearing, we can,
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to bring it out, so we're all on the same page here. Okay. Is there any other comments from the floor? If not, move to close the public hearing. And,
we go into the next one first.
okay, well, we should vote on this here. Once we close the public hearing, we should,
Well, because the two are
yeah, the
tied
two-
together.
but keep them separate, so one will tie into the other.
Okay?
Okay. So what is our pleasure as far as what we'd like to do?
Subject to resolution of the tax issue with the town of Hatfield, I would vote to approve the transfer from
Motion is made to
Rex to Sisters Convenience.
move the transfer to Sisters Convenient on the condition of the taxes owed to the town. Okay, and that we'll find an answer here with that, okay?
Yeah, I'm good with that. Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Okay. We'll go on to the second part of the hearing. Y42, we're late. Okay. Town of Hatfield, Board of Selectmen, transfer of liquor license hearing. Board of Selectmen, Town of Hatfield, Mass. Licensing authority under the general laws of Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Chapter 138. Hold a public hearing on Tuesday, April 14, 2015, at 5:40 PM in Meeting Room 109B of Memorial Town Hall, 59 Main Street, on the application of Sisters Convenience Store and Deli Corporation, DBA Sisters Convenience Store. J.T. by Patel, manager, located at 22 West Street, West Hatfield, Mass. Holder of a license to sell wine and malt beverages as a retail packaged goods store, who has applied for a transfer of said license to Rex Distributor Incorporated, DBA Hatfield Beef, Mark Axler, president and manager at 42 North Hatfield Road. Hatfield Board of Selectmen, Edward W. Lesko Jr. Chair, Marcus J. Boyle, and Brian F. Moriarty. Published on March 27, 2015. Public hearing is open, and I'll take comments.
I'm Brad Schimmel. I represent Sisters Convenience Store and Deli Incorporated. They've had a beer and wine license for quite some time. The idea of this transfer, as has been outlined, is basically for the two businesses to swap their licenses, because the all alcohol license would be a good adjunct to the Sisters location, and which is, as I understand it, has not had any problems during the time they've had wine and beer. It's a very vibrant business, as I think you're undoubtedly all aware, and this would be something that would strengthen that business, and that was the impetus behind this transfer. They feel that the transfer is in their interest, which is obviously why they're willing to pay the contractual figure of the $35,000 that's been mentioned. And Mr. Janti Bhai Patel is here. He's been involved with the store all along, and We would simply ask that the board approve this transfer to complete the swap, if you will.
Okay. Is there any other comments from the floor? Any other concerns? If not, I'll move to close the hearing, public hearing.
Subject to resolution of the Hatfield beef tax issue with the town of Hatfield, I move to approve transfer of the Sisters Convenience Store license to sell
Motion is made to
wine and malt beverages to
to approve the transfer of.
Rex Distributor doing business as Hatfield Beef.
Good. Motion was made to approve the transfer of license on a condition.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Our attorney or whoever will be getting back to you as soon as we can get an answer on the condition. Okay? Thank you. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
That concludes our public hearing. Okay. DPW Director's Report. Lydia, do you have anything going on? Oh, okay. Thank you. DPW Director's Report.
I just have a couple things. The bid is out for the water transmission, we'll call it Phase 2. I've been getting quite a few calls about the jacking portion, so hopefully we'll get some competitive bids. The other thing is that we have received confirmation letter from Mass DOT that Chapter 90, 200 million that they've approved is accessible. This, as of now, I guess, because we do have the confirmation letter. So we have the $244,000 in place, as well as the pothole money for $37,000. With that being said, we have scheduled the Linseed Road project. Tentatively, we're going to start on 5/26, lowering the structures. The week of 6/1, we're going to reclaim and grade it, and the week of 6/8, we'll pave it. Because of the road width, there's going to be delays up there, because it'll be a one-way situation.
What time will you be starting in the morning? Phil?
Probably 7 a.m. We surely can delay it. We're going to talk to the school and see exactly what their plan is, if we have to. But usually you start at, lowering of the structures won't be the problem, it'll be the reclaiming, because the machine's so big, as
Right.
you well know. But that's the tentative schedule. We'll see how it works
If there's
out.
emergency, it'll be
Oh, it'll be
accessible for
yes,
emergency.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
And the other thing is that at the highway garage, we've been experiencing, we do have the gates shut. They're not locked, they're pinned due to access for the gas pumps for the fire, police, council on aging, ambulance. But we just closed them in the past few weeks. People have been unpinning it and driving in there and dumping all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna lock the gates. We've notified the fire chief, police chief, council on aging. We gave them keys to the lock. So as of today, we locked them,
Okay.
but they have access, so.
Okay. I thought we talked about if they're going to be coming in, they can go through the dump area.
Yes, it's
open.
accessible daytime till 2 p.m. through the regular gates, and after, on Saturdays and Wednesday evenings till 5. They can access through a transfer station, and a dump sticker's not needed to do that, as long as you're a town resident.
Okay.
But we're just trying to keep the commercial people out. That's the biggest thing.
Anything else?
That's about it.
Any update on
I
the
do.
water line?
I have one.
Go ahead, Jeff. I'll ask it.
We've concluded negotiations with the union. And I would move that the Board of Selectmen approve a one-year extension of the current contract between the town of Hatfield and Teamsters General Local 404, Units A and Units B, for the period 1 July 2015 to 30 June 2016.
Motion been made to extend the contract. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No.
If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Now,
Well, and
go ahead.
we've accepted their proposal, they know what ours is. They're preparing the sheets for us to sign.
okay. On the water line, where do we stand with the water line, Phil?
As far as the jacking,
Jackie?
the jacking's out to bid as we speak. Like I said, we've been getting a lot of calls from some jacking contractors, so I'm hoping that the bids are gonna be competitive. I think they're closing next week, I think the bid opening is, so we'll see. Again,
And the other question I have is, did we close on that, and I hope we didn't, on the Rocks Road?
no, it's not
Repairs
closed.
and
We still have
finish
retainer,
work?
we still have the retainer money in place, so.
Okay, so is that work going to be done, or do we have to go out and
Well,
use the
we're
bond
giving
money and do
Gillagher,
it
you know,
ourselves?
he's been in contact with Gillagher, and they say they're gonna go there, but, I mean, we're gonna give it till, after the spring and into the early summer, and if it's not complete, we're gonna hire somebody to
Well,
finish it.
usually by contract, in the contract, it states once notified, they have so many days to complete it.
And he's been notified verbally, we're gonna send him a letter, though. We were waiting for the winter and obviously the springtime to break to see what happens up there, but
But I mean, now would
They're
be the
well
time.
aware.
Now would be the time to get the letter in
Yeah.
stating that July 1st, or whatever the case may be, that all work should be completed, otherwise we'll move on our part and get it done.
okay, we can send him that letter.
Any other questions? No? Anything else, Phil?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Town accountant, search update. We've interviewed 3 people already, and we have one more interview, I believe, this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Because I think we're going to have one at, I think on Wednesday, but that one, the
has another
person already
job.
found a job, so we only have one more to interview by. And we should be able to make a decision on that even that night if we have to.
Right.
Okay? So,
We do need to set a schedule for our interviews for the town administrator position,
okay, do we know,
some time.
We have a member of the screening committee here, so. yeah.
Please.
sure, please.
We also have one more interview on Thursday. And we discussed at our last meeting that we would review everything Thursday night so that we can submit something to you before. Are you having a meeting next Tuesday?
We are having a meeting next Tuesday. We're
Yeah.
having a meeting every Tuesday from now until
Well,
we
that's,
close on the
that's what I
budget.
figured. I wasn't positive, nothing had been posted, but I said, I'm assuming they're gonna have a meeting Tuesday. So that was our plan, was to get you 2 or 3 names by your meeting on Tuesday, so then you can set your schedule.
So just for planning. So it's roughly 2, 3 people?
Correct.
Or
That we
So-
had to put forward.
So we could do it in one
Do
evening.
the same thing. If we have 3 or 2 or 3, we'd do it all in one evening like we did with the town accountant. That was pretty easy.
So it would be helpful if we set a date after, sometime after the 16th, when we've,
Right, I mean, by Monday morning, you'll be able to make calls
yeah,
and,
So schedule it for next week sometime?
yeah.
You're going to be calling on referrals and stuff like that? Checking their referrals and,
No,
Or-
We'll do that.
We'll do
I
that.
believe,
We are gonna
yeah,
do that,
that was
okay.
my understanding was that.
Yeah.
okay.
You guys.
I
were
just
gonna do that.
I want
And narrow it
clarification,
down.
that's all.
Yep.
But can we look at our own schedules here? Brian, what was the best time for you to start?
Anytime after 5:30.
After 5:30. So,
I can do Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I'm pretty open next
how
week.
about Wednesday?
Okay.
that all right?
Can I just throw something
Yes,
out?
sir.
Sure you can.
All right, so if the committee is bringing us the names on Monday, I think the candidates probably might need,
I see.
you know, if we're, we certainly shouldn't schedule something for that evening or the next day probably. So maybe the following week would be advantageous to everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say,
Or at least
I'd
no
say-
no sooner than, you know, give them 2 or 3 days.
Thursday at the earliest, I would say.
Well, that's all I was
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
actually.
Well, let's
How
do it
about the
Thursday.
29th then?
How about the 23rd?
And maybe a second date, just
Yeah, well,
the beginning of that following week, just in case somebody can't do it.
I was going to say that we could do the 27th, 27th or 29th, or 30th. 27th is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week.
well, how about 23rd, one opportunity, and then a backup date?
Is next Thursday.
Oh, wait,
Which is-
apo-
which is
well, wait a minute,
next-
that's, yeah, but if we're going to be interviewing on the 20th,
No,
do we
23rd.
only want to give them 3 days?
23rd.
No, the 23rd would be the first round of interviews. We're getting the names on the 20th.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, we're getting the names on the 20th, so that's not,
Oh, that's just one of the dates, and then perhaps, I mean, truly doesn't matter. I agree that people need notice to be able to arrange their schedule.
If you
so.
wanna
We give
come
'em a
to-
little bit of
if you
a
wanna come to our
time.
meeting Thursday night, I'll give it to you Thursday night.
well, why don't we do 2 meetings, get them booked just in case. We'll do the 23rd and the next week, you want to do the
27th? Monday?
27th to be Monday, that'd be fine too.
5:30 both. That's just our booking time.
Your schedule's okay on the 27th?
27th, it is Monday.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right.
No, we're all done.
Just wanted to check.
Okay. All right, so that's scheduled. That's good, we can move on that.
We need to.
All right.
Thank you, Lydia,
Thank you very much.
for the update.
Okay, next on the agenda is the budget, Paul. What's going on with the budget here?
Well, I've got copies of the budget and warrant articles over there at the end of the table. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
How many are there? How many do we need?
Need 4
I
of
have
them.
enough for the
Four.
finance committee.
Well, I got 2 here.
You
Ed,
got 2? Oh, thank you.
And the warrants, yeah. I mean, the budget is pretty much set. There's just, a few questions that need to be dealt with. And that would be in the warrant. So let's skip over the budget and go right to the warrant.
Okay, on the budget, have we contacted all departments like we promised we were going to do?
Yes.
And let them know that
Yep.
if they have any questions to come forward and we'll take care of them at our next meeting?
Yep.
Okay, so everybody's been
Yeah, I sent out
notified.
an email.
Is there
2
a
weeks
cover
ago.
letter that went with it?
I just sent out an email to all the department heads.
But what was the email?
It basically said that due to budgetary constraints, that no salary increases and no increases in hours were approved. However, a 1.5% across the board COLA was approved by the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee.
Okay, and if they have any questions, come to our meeting and discuss it with the finance
Yeah,
committee and the select.
yeah, so,
Okay, just want to make sure that was out there so we're all on the same page here. 'Cause we did promise them that we
Yeah.
would get back to them.
okay, so let's look at the warrant. And no questions on page 1. Yeah, we just-
Yes. For Brian, who wasn't here,
Oh,
we cashiered the town collector, town treasurer, because we could not get legal coordination on another issue we'll talk about some other time, but
Let me just, for everybody to hear here, and Brian, you weren't here, but at 4:45, the town clerk came in and needed to get documentation done before 5 o'clock to get on the ballot. So we had an emergency meeting, a 15-minute meeting, to go over the documents and make sure that they got on the ballot. So that's what we had a quick meeting for. Go ahead, Jeff.
And one of the items that we had planned to put on the ballot and among the articles had to do with, one, making the collector a function of the treasurer's position, the elected treasurer, and yes or no to that. And secondly, attempted to combine the two positions and make it appointed. But if we got the one that's the most important thing, to combine the two positions, they're complementary in what they do. It's part of the integration of the financial function. There's a whole variety of reasons why that makes good sense, as well as making it appointed, given it's not a policy position, and it would broaden the area of consideration in getting candidates to apply. Plus, it would also have the added benefit of providing another activity, which is now half-time each, making it full-time, so you'd have coverage here at the town hall 5 days a week for the treasurer and the collector position, as you're now having with the secretariat, the town administrator, the DPW, the COA. There are a variety of good reasons why all this will be helpful to the town now and for the future. Finally, it was also recommended by Department of Revenue as a best practice, and it's been largely adopted elsewhere in the state. So shame on us, we didn't get through this early enough, and we'll come back to it in a different manner.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Okay, well, let's move on to page 2. Article 4, as Phil mentioned, that figure just became available from the transportation bond bill. And then Articles 5, 6, and 7, and 8 are all planning board articles, and I've gotten the final language from the planning board, so these are the final articles there. And they include, there was one additional one from the draft, and that is Article 8, and that was based on a request for a zoning change that came before the board a few weeks ago. So they modified that request because there was, I think, about 2.5 parcels that it was in the original request, and the compromise was to just change the zoning on parcel map and lot number 206-109 from rural residential to industrial.
Well, do you want me to, if I have any questions, or do you want me to raise them as we're going, or like little typo things, you want me to just
Come right up here, Lydia.
talk to you about it later?
We can talk about it tomorrow. I mean,
Yeah, 'cause I
I'm gonna
didn't-
I'm gonna have to clean this up and get it to town council.
Okay, if I see
yeah.
something big, I'll.
Yeah, if you see something
Yeah,
big.
I didn't want to bother you with the little.
Yeah. And free cash has not been certified yet. It hasn't even been submitted to the state yet, but in talking with Roland Chafee at the HCOG, he thought that that would be submitted by the end of the week. So we'll see about that. And then Article 11, the issue with the Lions Club Pavilion and the property.
What did the attorney say, Paul?
Well, right after our meeting last time with Mr. Corza and Mr. Davies, Mr. Corza came into my office and said, we'll have our attorney handle this. Because I said, that's great, Bill, because I'll tell you, I don't even know where to begin with this thing. So that was the last I heard. And so,
But you can't,
and we're running out of time.
but you can't throw, they have to know that there's a time restraint on this.
Well, I
You
mean,
can't just tell them it's in their ballpark and then they're gonna think that it's all taken care of. That's
They-
not the case here.
They were made well aware when they were before the board. I told them right then and there, we're running out of time. I need something within a couple of weeks. I told them that night.
But it's our problem as much as their problem, okay? It's our problem just as much as theirs, because right now, they own part of our ball field, or we own the land, right? Whatchamacallit, up. How do I want to say it? In the transfer, they have, it's totally mixed up from when it was
Yes.
voted on back in the 70s, okay, which needs to be corrected.
Yeah, I mean, I'm vaguely aware of the issues here, but it's as clear as mud. I don't know what the hell is going on with this
When
thing.
do you plan on closing the warrant?
Pardon?
When do you plan on closing the warrant?
My plan is to pretty much close on it tonight and have the board sign it on the 28th. So close it tonight, clean it up, get it to town council, because it's gonna
It
take...
has to be, what, 7 days
7
prior to
days.
town meeting,
Yeah.
annual town
So
meeting.
the 5th is the latest
Correct.
to sign it.
And so your next meeting is what, 2?
That's why I suggested getting Copeland and Page involved and getting some kind of a document here that, because we're protecting our interest. I want to make sure the town is protecting our interest, okay? And then their attorney protects the Lions Club's interest.
Right.
That's why I suggested getting Copeland and Page involved. Maybe we should vote to bring Copeland and Page on board, or just go ahead and use them. I'm not sure how you guys feel about that. Because the other attorney that we had sent us a letter that they're no longer going to represent us, they're all done.
Well, let me back up.
Yeah.
We have, the town, as I understand it, voted in '87 to transfer certain property regarding the Lions Pavilion.
I don't remember.
To them.
Exactly.
Right.
Turned out to be, there was something wrong with the plan, with the boundaries. It was redone in '89, and again, the town voted to transfer that property to the town. For some reason, it was never executed. It would be helpful to know why. There must have been some reason why that transfer never really occurred. In any event, we do know what the bounds are, correct?
That's correct.
Brian also sits on the school committee, and from informally at least, they've offered no objection
Correct.
to where the bounds are that separate the elementary school from this parcel, which would go to the Lions Club. There are a couple of other issues, however. One, DPW has needs a sewer easement,
Water easement.
a water easement, some other things like that, access, that needs to be properly recorded. Town clerk has raised an issue regarding her understanding that planning board action would be required on this transfer. Whether we get that in advance of town meeting and/or make it approval
Additional.
contingent on subsequent planning board approval, but we're kind of boxing the planning board in if town meeting approves it, and then over to them.
Well, it's what they call an A&R plan, approval not required. So unless there's something
That we don't
very
know.
wrong with the plan,
Yeah.
as far as the way the surveyor did
Should be
it.
routine.
And it's Eaton and Associates, they're good surveyors, not that,
Yeah.
everybody makes a mistake here and there, but they're good surveyors. It's my understanding they did find the Mylar, which is the plastic copy that needs to be recorded. So, you know, that could be signed, yet Billy had a copy that was already signed, which was kind of strange. Because usually the Mylar and the copies are all signed at the same time. So,
So I'm
So-
not sure why we need another attorney.
Well, that's the other, with that being said, why can't we just take the wording that was done the last time and correspond that with the new map or the new plot plan, and that's what we vote on?
Well,
I'd give Ed Etheridge a call tomorrow just to see if he's working on the language for the warrant.
Okay.
I don't, when Billy Corza said he's taking care of it, I don't know what that meant, but I know Ed's a good attorney and
okay.
Well, right now, we
real
have
estate
to,
attorney and been
That would be,
practicing for years.
that would be very helpful to get that
and-
nailed down.
And is, you know, could be drafting the warrant language for all I know. I just don't know.
can we get in touch with them tomorrow and find out, Paul?
Sure.
Yeah,
What's going on here? I just want to stay on top of it, because if we have to put an article in here, we could duplicate the article that was done in the past, and then make that corresponding with the plot plan.
Are those easements that the DBW has, or is that something new since
Well, there's a hydrant on,
their deeds? Or are those, is that language on those deeds?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know the sewer main runs down there.
the sewer goes right directly to the
Built to the-
bathrooms.
Correct.
Right.
There's a manhole
So the only thing
down
is,
there.
there's a manhole that, yeah.
There's a manhole down there, and then there's a water line down there.
Right. So that's all we'd need easements to access those.
Yeah, just, the basic easement in
Yeah,
case
right,
of
Yeah.
something.
So
happening.
subject to easements, that's how you want to put the wording in at town meeting. Subject
The
to
deed will
easements,
be a little
water
more
and sewer easements.
specific, but
Yep.
And they may exist. I mean, I think the short version of this very long convoluted story for the townspeople's edification is this was all taken care of 25 years ago, but never legally transferred to go from the town to the Lions Club. Everything's been running fine, everything's been working fine. We're just trying to make it
legal.
cut and dry and legal so that everybody has, the piece of the property back there. So that's the bottom line with this.
I thought originally that's all we had to do was get it to the registry and document it.
Right, but it seems that there's been a little, and it's 25 years
Well,
later, and there's
the-
new rules
the
and
laws have
laws and
changed in
regulations.
25 years,
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
I used to do deeds 25 years ago where you could sell a piece of property
Right.
and just say a portion of
Right.
this other deed, but now.
So to-
So if you're able to make that call, I think that's important tomorrow. And I think, would that call also show if there's any, the people you're going to speak with, show if there's any easements that already exist as far as Phil's concerned, as far as the sewer, or is it?
Well, there
not?
wouldn't be
I'm
because
assuming Ed's got copies of the deeds and everything,
Okay,
but
all right.
that's, an assumption.
Right, because I agree with Ed. We need to, just wrap this up and know what the wording's going to be. And that way, when we're at town meeting, it's basically, there's no change of what's been happening for 25 years. We're just trying to make it, legal or
Right, just put
legitimate.
the documentation in
Right.
place.
we can get the wording off the article back in the 80s and put it on here.
Right,
Just
as long,
get it on.
unless now there's new,
No,
I don't
the
know.
articles basically are the same structure.
We'll know more. But we might also want to reach out to Billy Corza just to.
Yeah, that's what I
What
asked
what
Paul to
has
do.
he,
Right.
or, what has he found out or discovered through
Yeah.
their attorneys?
And
Just
have
so
it-
we're all on the
have
same
it
wavelength.
Have it nailed down by Tuesday.
Yeah, we don't want this to drag on another year for something that's going to be
wasn't
a.
he
on Town
no,
Hall
2 seconds.
recently?
We just want to get this thing taken care
He
of.
was in here this morning getting
Oh,
a
this morning.
copy of the vote for Ed Etheridge. Ed wanted a certified copy of the vote
Okay.
to make sure it was something coming from me.
So you'll take care of that tomorrow morning? Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, moving right along.
Thanks, Lydia.
Yeah, Article 12 is water meters.
Okay, what's Article 13?
Yes, okay. Article 13, yeah, this is one of the, so we kind of have two proposals before the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee on how to use free cash. Initially, it was proposed to use the free cash to pay for the lease, But I've been working with Louise on this, and she came up with another proposal, which I kind of like. She's basically using about $170,000 in free cash to pay off the sewer debt for next year. And included in that, for two of the projects, she's proposing that, we use extra money, above and beyond what we're required to, just to pay off a couple of those projects. So I kind of like that idea, because there's an awful lot of debt out there. So, we'll need to discuss this with the Finance Committee as well, but, so the budget that you have before you, if you go to page...
What do we have for existing free cash? Is it
If you go to page 5, I'm way over on the right-hand
For
side.
planning, we had 275, was it?
See, for the sewer department, all that debt is coming out of free cash, $171,422.
okay, and how much, I heard 300,000, 275. What is the actual number? Do we know?
We don't have certified free cash.
We don't have it yet.
Our working number is 275.
The last figure that the accountant gave me was, he said, very conservatively, $275,000.
Okay.
So that's one option. Another option is back to using free cash to take care of the vehicles and lease and equipment.
Free cash because it does not exist every year,
Proper use for capital items, one time.
or pay down debt. Okay, those are the responsible things that should be used for.
So, we need to resolve that. And then Article 14, 15, and 16 is relative to creating the Water Sewer Enterprise Fund. I talked to an attorney with the Department of Revenue about this. And first, what we have to do is eliminate the current Water Enterprise Fund and Sewer Enterprise Fund in order to create the new combined one. So in order to do that, we need 3 separate articles. Article 17, we need a new copier pretty bad. So we're looking for a 5-year lease to another Ricoh, similar machine to what we have. The printing quality on that, just lately, everybody's complaining about it. The printing quality is pretty bad. Okay, Article 18, so there's a...
Okay, Paul, before we go too far on this
Yeah.
here, on the copier,
Yeah,
all right, we paid some big money for that copier last time we did. Okay, if I recall, it was,
well, it was a 4-year lease.
right, okay, but it's like almost $20,000 for that copier, okay?
They're
That has
cheap.
all the bells and whistles and everything that you can imagine in there. But do we use all the bells and whistles and everything else, and do we need that magnitude of it's 5 years old, and it seems like we should get a heck of a lot longer life out of it, and there's some functions in there that we haven't even used.
Yeah, it gets an awful lot of use.
Then why
Yeah.
can't we just get the plain old copier without the added stuff if we're not using it? If we're using it, it's one
We
thing.
use it as a fax machine, we use it as a copier, scanner, and we need all those functions.
Okay, so we're tied in with the internet and all that other stuff?
Yeah,
Or the
yeah,
networking?
yeah.
Okay,
that's how
do we
people send
use all that
faxes.
stuff?
Yeah.
When I have a major project to print, like something that's really thick, I will go to the copy machine because it's a lot cheaper to print it there than it is on my ink cartridge.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Right, so I'm not gonna print a big stack of stuff there, I'm gonna send it to the printer, well,
Well, that's what you should do, yeah.
right, so you need to be able to,
But I guess what I'm saying is that if we're only using it for printing, but we use it for a lot more, so you need,
All those other,
you need something that's more expensive.
Yeah.
But
It,
yet to
uh,
last only 5 years, it just seems like it should last a lot
Yeah,
longer than that.
yeah, it's got
I
me.
wouldn't go with the same.
Planned obsolescence, Ed.
Yeah, I'd be looking at different vendors and getting some kind of a, either a different type of a lease agreement, or
Well,
add something in the lease agreement that it guarantees us more or gives us some kind of coverage, so we're not looking at another one every 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, it does seem like they get a lot of wear and tear. You know, if every department in town hall is using it,
Every
using the
department.
various functions, I mean, that they, you know.
Every department, various functions.
Do you happen to
The-
know if part of the current lease or the next lease, well, does it include some sort of maintenance, or do we pay extra for that?
It'll have a maintenance agreement as well, yeah. Which ran out on this one, so every time they were coming, you know, we were shelling out some
Yeah.
money.
All right,
And
so-
they've been coming a lot lately.
Oh, it's
I mean,
time.
the stapler doesn't work on it, and yeah, just the drum is shot because, you know, the print quality is just not very good anymore.
I can see that.
Yeah, yeah. So.
Okay.
Okay, Article 18. So the story behind this is, first of all, we got the $160,000 in Green Communities grant money, and we have a little over $8,000 that is uncommitted, because some of the projects that we did, the utility rebates actually came in a lot higher than was originally estimated. So we've got, you know, a little over $8,000 in uncommitted grant money there. So I've been working with the highway department on their heating system. So that building was built in 1971. It's got the original heating system in it. It's 44 years old. There isn't even a name on it. Don't know what the brand is. It's, you know, being held together with Elmer's glue and duct tape, basically.
Is that the one that we're using for our waste oil also?
This is gas heaters.
This is a
is
gas
gas?
heater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been working with our energy consultants and the folks at DOER. So, because the highway superintendent had a regular low efficiency heating system spec'd out for it, and I ran that by DOER, and so that doesn't meet our specifications. We're not going to help you out with that. So our energy consultant spec'd out a high efficiency system, which costs about twice as much money. And they said, the DOER said, yeah, well, that meets our criteria. So they haven't given their blessing on this yet, but yeah, we would need another $8,500 in order to match that other $8,000 to get a new heating system in there. I mean, I think it's 44 years old. I mean, it should have been replaced a long time ago.
So you're saying the grant will give us $8,500?
No, the grant will give us another
Another
8,000.
eight, a little over
Access
eight.
to the,
Yeah.
what's remain, or the remainder.
And that should take care of the whole heating?
That would
system?
take care of the whole
Okay.
thing. Yeah, it
Okay.
was, the cost on it was, you know, a little over 16 grand.
Okay.
Article 19, $20,000 from water retained earnings to create an emergency water connection with the city of Northampton. Okay, Article 20. See if the town will vote to amend the current authorization to dismantle the center school and vote to appropriate an additional $100,000, and to meet said appropriation, authorize the treasurer to borrow such sum under. So, yeah, I think originally we're talking about using free cash here, but I think borrowing for this project is actually a better idea. We're gonna need free cash next year.
Okay,
We're probably not gonna have very much free cash next year.
quite
If
some
you-
time ago, Paul,
Yeah,
we always included wording of borrow, free cash. We put the combination in the article, so it gave us flexibility. from
Well,
one
we
to
can
the
do
other.
that, yeah.
And then when the motion came up we said that it was going to come to a certain thing. So I don't know why we don't do that.
Yeah.
And then, because if we start changing stuff around, we won't have to change the warrant. We just, it's a
Change the motion.
boilerplate, and just leave it there. Okay, just take the wording out from the old articles that include all the
All the
Avenues.
options?
Right.
all the options, and just leave it right in there as boilerplate.
I don't recall seeing that.
And
but-
then, like I said, then when the motions come in, we'll define that at the
Yeah.
motion, the time of the motions.
Okay.
Okay? That way we're not guessing what we're doing or whatever the case may be.
Okay, Article 21, that's the petition to basically rescind Article 1 of the October 21st, 2014 special town meeting to dismantle the center school, so that's on there. The next articles are all from the Community Preservation Committee. In terms of projects, Articles 24, 25, 26, $29,000 in 24 to rehabilitate some gravestones and grave sites at the Hill Burying Ground Cemetery. Article 25 is $185,000 to rehab the old Prospect Court Bridge. And Article 26 is $380,000 to rehab the Town Hall Phase 2, which includes putting in a sprinkler system, a new ADA compliant ramp, and an elevator.
And this money is all coming from community preservation.
Correct.
The only comment I had to add on that is all the work to be done by June 30th, 2017. You know,
Okay.
not all this work is going to be going on
Yeah, I mean,
simultaneously. It's going to be phased, and I don't know what that phasing would be in terms of how it will work out in terms of completion date.
yeah, I'd say if that work can begin, you know, in 2016, I think we're probably okay. If it doesn't begin in 2016, then, you know, quite obviously, the June 30th, 2017 is not going to work. And then Article 27, boilerplate regarding revolving funds. And I added Article 28 after our discussions earlier this evening. So, you know, I'm not sure if you want to go in this direction, but see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to petition the Massachusetts General Court for special legislation to create a combined treasurer-collector position.
What's
I
our
mean, that was-
pleasure? We leave it on there?
Yeah, how about making it appointed?
You can do that, too.
I mean, because would, having created it this way, if we amended it, would we have to go back for special legislation again? Or could the town
Probably,
meeting?
yeah.
Well, you're creating a new position, but then we have an elected position in place for each of these. So you're going to have to go through the roles of deleting that first, and then before you go into the next part. Right?
I'm in the fog here, I'm sorry.
Well, if you're creating, you're saying if we go into an appointed position, okay? Special legislation for the combined treasurer-collector position. Just leave it at that. It doesn't matter whether it's appointed or, what you just asked for was appointed position. So if you leave it just at that, that's going to combine the treasurer-collector position, period, the way it is right now. And then I think we talked about that before, I think.
I get, well, what I seem to understand, and whether I've got it completely understood or not, is you need the special legislation to combine two elected positions.
Yes,
So that's kind of your first step,
right?
is to combine the two elected positions into one. And then vote, or try to get a vote to have that elected position be appointed. See what I mean? I don't know if you need special legislation to create an appointed position.
No, no.
It's because you're dealing with elected positions that are under statute. When you look at the statute, you get a clerk, a treasurer, a collector, they're all spelled out, but there's nowhere in the statute that says you can have a treasurer-collector position. There's no such position.
But if it's created, special legislation is going to create the new position, but that would not happen until after the term of office is up for both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would just say that by putting appointed into Article 28, I mean, we're running into the same problem that we're
Yeah, I
running
know.
in with anything else. You know, people are going to see appointed on here, and they say, no, we're not.
Primary thing is first to get
To get
combined.
it combined so that it makes it a one-person position. That one person is here from Monday to Friday. And so if you need the collector's here Monday through
Right.
Friday. If you need the treasurer here's Monday through
Right.
Friday. Instead of, they're never there.
It gives two part-time positions for one full-time. That's what you're doing,
Yeah, right.
which is servicing the public.
Well, other communities have done it this way, so there ought to be plenty of examples.
Right, but I don't
on-
think you can put the appointed part in here. When you're
Okay.
dealing with the special legislation, it just has to do with the elected positions. So I
Okay.
think that's kind of
I think I would leave it just the way it is.
Step one.
Yeah. I would.
Well,
Because
Does this have to go on the ballot
even if it's
also?
an elected person, that person's got to be doing
No,
both jobs.
it's not going to be on the ballot.
So town meeting vote on this is the final say? Doesn't need to then also
no,
be?
this is to send it to have
This is just-
COCOT. Representative
No, I
COCOT.
understand that,
This
but
is-
we still don't, we don't also need a ballot question on this, right?
No, because all this is
legislation will take care of that.
asking, all this is authorizing the Board of Selectmen to start
The process.
the
Okay,
process
just wanted to make
of
sure. Right.
filing for,
Yep.
special legislation to create
To
that.
combine the two.
To combine that, the
Okay.
two.
Thank you.
Okay, and moving right along, Article 29 is boilerplate. Article 30 is the debt exclusion for the church. Article, oh.
No, where's
It's supposed to be
the,
Article 31 there.
we got them out of order here.
32, 33. So it should be Article 31. So if Article 30 passes, then this is money for the operating costs, which I'm,
30 doesn't belong here.
We got two 30s. in
that's
that.
right, yes.
So which,
There's 30, and then 31, and then 32.
The second 30 does not
33.
belong there, period.
Well, that's up for discussion. I
Yes,
mean, there's
yeah,
been all
we-
this,
wait,
yeah.
let's come back to that. Let's,
Okay, because what
let's,
we talked about is putting that
let's first-
$10,000 into that account.
let's first nail down this, the sequence. The petition, shouldn't the petition go first?
The petition should go
Or-
first, that's correct.
Shouldn't the petition be on page 8? Shouldn't 31 go ahead of,
So you want the petition in front of the debt exclusion vote?
right,
Okay.
because we just tabled the debt exclusion vote if petition fails. Right?
Yep.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. And then, if the petition did go through, then we need the first 30 and the second 30. And in the second 30, we're talking about operating funds, which are not covered and cannot be covered by debt exclusion.
So the 31 should be
So,
30.
so there's two 30s here, don't get confused.
Yeah.
So
So
the
the-
second 30 would be whether we put that money in advance in DPW's facility maintenance and/or
Just wait
deal
and
with it
see. Yeah.
on the floor,
So this should be.
So
amending the budget.
31 would be 30.
Yeah.
The first 30 would be 31,
Yep.
Correct.
and the second
32.
30 would be 32.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's, yeah.
Okay, and that's going to take some calculating from the Finance Committee to roll that money in. If it's a sum of money, we're looking at $40,000 or $50,000, whatever it's going to be,
I don't know.
for maintenance of it.
And that's it for the warrant.
Okay. So you're going to correct them as such, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the petition definitely goes first.
Yep.
Okay.
So I just got a couple of things here before we meet with the Finance Committee that I need the board to deal with. Wilma Davis, the secretary in the front office, has asked me to ask you if she can keep her old schedule, the 4-day work schedule. So she was coming in at 7, I believe, and staying until 2:30. She much prefers that schedule.
If we opened it up for 5 days a week, it should be everybody.
Well,
Back.
we're talking about the office being covered. What's
But
your
the problem
recommendation
is,
since you're
if Kia's
supervisor?
out sick, we don't have coverage on Friday.
I don't have a problem with it at all. She says that, the longer days, she finds that she's just much more productive.
Now,
Oh, I'm sorry, what hours we talking
She
about?
comes in at 7 to 2:30,
4 days a week.
4 days a week, right.
What happens when he's out on Friday?
We'd have to arrange coverage, or try to anyways.
Well, do we need to just do this right now?
No, but I want to bring it up.
Okay.
Put it on the agenda for next week.
Okay.
We really got to get going with the Finance Committee.
Yeah, well, I got one more thing. I would like the board to award the demolition contract to Associated Building Records contingent upon additional funding from the town. They were the apparent low bidder. That's a recommendation from our consultants. So I think we want to get going on the contract.
Okay, do you want to let us know what the dollar figures are right now?
Pardon me?
You want to let us know what the dollar figures are, so people can know?
Oh, it was, I can't tell you the exact figure, but it was $323,000 and change. I can go dig that out if you want me to.
No.
Okay, is there a motion to
So moved.
Second.
have Associated Wrecking be the bidder, low bidder? Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Very good.
To have Associated
Thank you.
Wrecking. Okay, anything else, Paul?
Nope.
Okay. That concludes our first part of the Selectmen's meeting. We'll be going into another meeting with the Finance Committee to discuss the financial picture of what's left here. And I believe at our next meeting, we may be ready to, depending on John, if John can be at the meeting, publicize the whole meeting right straight through so we all know where we stand with the budget. We'll be tying up all the loose ends tonight, and hopefully we'll be well on our way here, so we're completed. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.